It seems like with Battlefront 2, we're going to be having another Infinite Warfare issue. And that is that people that don't even play it or understand it are going to criticize it, make memes about it, and overall just hate it. I'm kind of glad because then I can finally showcase that if another game went through a series of misconceptions and misinformation, that it would irritate me just as much. And well, here it is. Battlefront 2 has a long ways to go in my opinion. It needs to fix its weapon play, it needs to balance some of the maps, it needs to change how certain starfighters perform, it needs to change the earn rate for credits, and the loot boxes should only give you common cards and aesthetic things. I will be talking about all of that in more depth when I finally make my Battlefront 2 review, which is not going to happen for a little bit. It's a multiplayer game, and I don't want to rush a review on a multiplayer game like that. But here are my starting impressions. The game is very fun. The game has a ways to go. It needs to be optimized. I'm playing on the Xbox One X, and my friends that play on the original Xbox One have more issues than me. It needs some optimization, like every Frostbite game needs after it comes out, but luckily it's had a much better launch than COD World War II. I get into games, I play, there's very little connection issues. I've been in one laggy server, and after they take the time to change up progression, balance weapons and star cards, abilities, heroes, and starfighters, I believe it's going to be one of the best Star Wars games ever made, and a contestant for one of the best shooters in the last 4 years. Honestly, there's a lot of variety and there's a lot of just good old-fashioned fun you can have in this game. It's not as freeing and as open-ended as a Battlefield game, unfortunately, and I wish that it was. Every game should have its own unique experience, and I agree with that, but I kinda wished it was just the Battlefield formula, but with Star Wars. But that's my personal thing, it doesn't really weigh in on my objective view of the game. But I have grinded the fuck out of this game from launch night, from 10 PM, all the way to fucking 4 AM, and then the next day from 4 PM all the way to 3 AM. I played the game so much that my hand hurt, and I have something that nobody wants to hear. It's not pay to win. Even if I could go buy all of these crates, and yes, it would give me an advantage if I wanted to go drop $100 on these crates. Yes, the star cards give you an advantage, having more credits does give you an advantage. But within my first night of playing, from completing the challenges, from opening my daily crate, and from just playing the fucking objective, I had enough points to buy Darth Vader. The biggest point of contention in the game, of course. Now, I do think they need to make it so you earn more credits after a match. I think instead of 250 to 350, I think it should be more on the lines of 400 to 600 credits per match. Kind of a 400 to 500 if you lost or did well, and then 600 or even 700 if you won and did really well. Especially since the cheapest crate you can get is like 2,000 credits, I think that you should earn more, for sure. I'm not saying this game is perfect, I'm saying it's not pay to win. Especially since they've removed microtransactions until they figure out progression. When they get a solid beat on what we want and how to be consumer friendly while also making a profit, they're going to do it, and I believe and I have confidence that it's going to be a good system. If it isn't a good system, I'm going to throw a giant hissy fit. If they switch everything around in a way that I hate and then turn on microtransactions, I'm going to be very, very angry. Now, most of the star cards that are really going to affect you, in my opinion, are for the specialist classes. The Wookiees, the Death Troopers, the Jetpack Troopers, basically all of the specialty loadouts. I feel like the star cards for them, that give them extra health and things of that sort, are a little bit powerful because the actual core gunplay is less intuitive than it should be. The guns should be doing either more damage or have more accuracy. That's kind of the simplistic way I'm going to put it in this video. Again, my full review will come out once I've really figured out my position here. But I feel like having more powerful star cards doesn't matter as much when the gunplay is more intuitive and you can rely on your weapon more than relying on your star cards. When you have a game with weak weapons and a lot of complicated abilities, you're gonna end up relying more on having the best complicated ability compared to having decent gun skill. So I think either boosting the damage or boosting the overall accuracy of the weapon by reducing spread, reducing recoil, and maybe increasing the velocity of the blasters, I feel like that would go a long way to kind of dispelling a lot of pay-to-win things. Similar to Rainbow Six Siege, where it's like, yeah, you can buy these extra operators and that's cool, but, you know, everybody dies really fucking quick. But I've been focusing on my starfighters, my assault class, and of course touching up my heroes and specialist characters when I get the cards for them. I have peaked at 27,000 credits and over 700 crafting materials. This has allowed me to touch up my assault class and make him a little bit more versatile, a little bit harder to kill, by getting faster health regeneration, health after each kill, and an improved thermal detonator that I use my in-game currency to buy, and that's what I was grinding for. Again, I'm not saying I'm in love with the system. What I'm saying is, I wanted something, I grinded for it, I got something. I now have a better thermal detonator, and my assault class is a little bit more effective. I also grinded all 500 assault kills to get the last rifle, and I'm getting used to it, but I feel like, again, these blaster bolts need to be traveling faster, so that ranged engagements don't feel stunted and awkward. Basically, the time to kill just needs to be more consistent. But after buying a bunch of hero and starfighter crates last night, and I only bought, let's see, probably around 6,000 credits worth, I'm now down to about 16,000 credits at the time of recording this, and I still have around 600 crafting materials. 600 crafting materials is enough to really start rolling the ball on touching up one of your favorite classes like Heavy, Specialist, Assault, or Officer. Also giving things like Wookiees, Super Battle Droids, and Jet Troopers the little touch-ups that I think they need to be more effective. And I can fully afford Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, Emperor Palpatine, or Iden Versio. Oh, and Chewbacca. I can afford one of those, or at least two of them, because two of the ones I just mentioned are pretty cheap. Vader is something that if you really want to play as, by the way, how many times are you really going to play as Vader in a Galactic Conquest match? Seeing how Galactic Conquest is the only game mode other than Heroes vs. Villains, I'll get into that more in a second, Heroes vs. Villains is the only other game mode where you can play as Vader. So how badly do you fucking need Darth Vader? If someone gets the battle points to play as Darth Vader and is really kicking your ass, you need to take a step back and shoot at him from a distance. He's not that hard to kill. None of these heroes are actually that hard to kill. In fact, my favorite hero so far has been Han Solo. His blaster kills incredibly fast. I even have referred to him as the sniper hero. He is insane. He's more effective than a sniper rifle, and he is free. When I was playing Heroes vs. Villains, I had more fun with Lando Calrissian and Han fucking Solo than I did Darth Maul, Kylo Ren, Yoda, or Rey. Same with Boba Fett because of his overwhelming wrist rockets. But they're not invincible. In fact, I would be willing to bet that if you had a tank and you had to fight Vader, the tank would win. And guess what? You don't have to pay real money for the tank. If you had a walker, a tank, a good bit of cover and some range, or the Vader is just bad, you're not going to have really any trouble. These heroes are not that powerful. You can't just walk into a room of people and just slaughter them. They will destroy you. A couple of thermal detonators and you're fucked. The people that are criticizing the game seem to have not played it. There are things that need balancing, there are things that need work. I have a review coming out about that. But everyone just wants to bitch about loot boxes, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it looks virtue signaling. We all hate microtransactions, ooh, pay to win is bad. Yeah, but is it there? Is it really there? Not once have I felt, except when fighting some of the specialist classes, like again, Wookiees, Super Battle Droids, have I felt that I needed better star cards. And the only reason I don't like the specialist class star cards is because they directly increase your health. But then again, they're easily craftable. And if they increase the rate you get crafting points and credits, you're gonna be fucking golden. Or just dramatically reduce the price of these things. It's really not that big of a deal. The most bullshit in this game, and no one wants to talk about the actual game. No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to talk about the actual game. It's all about loot boxes. Well, here's the thing. The actual game has a really bad flaw, and that's that the Galactic Assault maps have some really unbalanced teams and like their locations. Like some objectives are impossible to defend while others are impossible to attack. It feels like something's always stacked against you, and it's a little bit too much. And I feel like they need to balance out those maps, change up where cover is, change up the flow, because most of them just turn into funnel in through a doorway and hopefully you overwhelm them, take the objective, and then move on to the next one. A lot of it's just funnel in through these tight hallways. See, that's frustrating. The weird frostbite issue that's been around since Battlefield 3, where you're flying around and your ship kind of like lags back and forth, or when you get close to a wall and it pulls you into the wall, those issues are annoying. Or the fact that I just don't think the engine was made to deal with lightsaber duels, because playing the hero mode, the hero versus villain mode, lightsaber combat feels like shit. It doesn't even make sense. You're just fucking smacking right trigger, hoping you get the fucking kill. Maybe you use your ability on them and it helps, but really, it's just fucking random. I actually preferred using the ranged heroes because I felt like I had more control over what was going on. The lightsaber combat is stupid. There's no reason I should be able to smack Yoda into him not being able to fight because it locks up his controls when he's hit with a lightsaber. It just is stupid. But here's the secret. You can just play heroes versus villains and get like 375 credits per match. You can just grind that, and you just turn your brain off, you have fun, play with your friends, troll people in it. There's not really a weight on winning or losing in my mind. It's just a just for fun mode. You get just as many credits, so just fucking grind that shit. One of the things people have been complaining about is that the arcade mode locks you out of earning credits. Yes, of course it does. They don't want you to farm their easy AI for in-game currency. To get the in-game currency that gives you things that allows you to beat other players, you have to grind the game modes where you fight other players. Isn't that novel? Who wants to grind their shitty little small map arcade mode for currency, and why do they think that should work? Play Starfighter Assault or Galactic Assault. Okay, you want something smaller and shorter? Play Strike or Blast. You want something even shorter and simpler? Play Heroes vs. Villains. No, it's EA's agenda to get all your money, and not your incompetence. And again, let me make this clear. I am not for the system. I'm saying the system isn't inherently bad. It needs some work. It needs some tweaking. But all I'm gonna see is memes and Twitter posts about how EA fucked it up and, ooh, EA just wants your money. I paid for the High Ground DLC, Anakin, you can't win. Yeah, well, the game has free DLC, they removed microtransactions, they're fixing progression, and it's really not that fucking bad. This weekend, I've been playing against people that have had the game longer because they purchased the Elite Trooper Deluxe Edition. And they have better star cards than me, but doesn't really fucking matter. I have decent gun skill, I'm learning the way the blasters work, I know how to position myself, me and my friend are pretty good together, he's been grinding his specialist class to unlock one of the snipers he wants, and I've been ranking up my assault class to receive the last rifle. It's been a fun experience. If you're not a fan of casual competitive shooters, you might not like it. If you're not a fan of Star Wars, you might not like it. But god damn it, gamers, they fixate on one thing and they fucking beat their head against it forever. Gamers can't accept that Battlefield 1 is a very flawed, small, stunted Battlefield game that locks the other half of it behind a DLC pack. But Infinite Warfare was inherently bad because space. And now Battlefront 2 had a bad microtransaction system, and then they fixed it, and people still can't shut up about how EA is destroying the game, when all they're doing right now is trying to make you happy. Do people not realize that developers and publishers and companies want you happy? If you don't like their games, if you don't like their movies, if you don't like their toys, if you don't like the candy, if you don't like the food, you don't buy it. Companies have to have a standard of quality and a standard of customer reassurance. EA fucked up and they know it. They flew way too close to the microtransaction sun and they got more than burned. And an actual applause to anyone that gave them constructive feedback on Reddit, on Twitter, on YouTube, that forced their hands to remove microtransactions indefinitely until the problem has been resolved, and then they can reach a middle ground where the consumer is happy and the company is happy. Companies make these things for years and years and years, and it doesn't pay off as much as you might think it does. They have to rope you in so that you buy the next game and the next game. Do you think people will buy Battlefront 3 if this issue gets worse during Battlefront 2? No. If EA fixes the issue, gives gamers what they want, cosmetic and common cards only in the drops, reduce the cost of crafting star cards and upgrading them, reduce the cost of crates, and then of course the actual important stuff like gameplay, fixing blasters, starfighters, and some game mode imbalances. If those things happen and the consumer is happy, they will buy the third game. They will buy the fourth game if the third one makes them happy. All these developers and publishers want is for you to be happy with their product. Yes, it's so that they make money. But how are they going to make money off of you if you don't like their shit? And in the long run, how does their product pissing you off help them? It doesn't. It doesn't. Call of Duty bends to the gamer and the feedback. That's why I'm scared that maps are gonna get simpler, and I'm never gonna see Infinite Warfare 2. I'm never gonna see the continuation of the cool space Nazi story. When there is an injustice to the consumer, I will be as upset as I am when there is misinformation and misconceptions spread by YouTubers, Twitter personalities, or otherwise. Do people not realize how mad I was over the gambling of time you had to do to get stuff in Advanced Warfare? Or how unlikely it was to get any of the new content in Black Ops 3? Or the fact that Battlefield 1 feels simple, small, stunted, and locked behind a premium wall? Because the first thing I want is a Battlefield with half the content of the last game, and that game had like 3/4 of the content of the game before it, but this current one wants me to buy a bunch of DLC so that I actually have a variety of weapons to choose from, where I actually have more maps to play on. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fucking great. Love that. I have a problem with those things, and in my opinion, Infinite Warfare didn't do any of them. Even though I wasn't thrilled with the Advanced Movement, Infinite Warfare and the Modern Warfare Remastered that I got for $100 along with the Season Pass, and the Season Pass came with a bunch of free weapons that they even handed out to people that didn't have the Season Pass. That was a good deal. That was a great night when those came out. I played 2 games on launch night. They both ran fine. I had fun in both of them. But we're so selective that if a game has meme status or is trendy, then it's okay. Because let's not forget the fact that Rainbow Six Siege pretty much alienates new players unless the new player wants to buy passes to get operators, or buy the operators individually, or buy the in-game currency. Yeah, let's ignore that. That's okay because everybody likes Rainbow Six Siege. But Call of Duty is a giant target, EA is a running meme, so when they do things, oh god, now I'm angry. Ooh, now I'm pissed off. Oh, I'm fucking furious. Here, let me tell my audience how mad I am. Oh guys, are you as mad as I am that these companies do this thing? I only play indie games and cool games like PUBG and Overwatch. Have you heard of PUBG and Overwatch? Yeah, okay, whatever. This rant got out of hand. My Battlefront 2 review is coming soon. This was just a rant. I hope you guys enjoyed some of my early Battlefront 2 gameplay. I'm getting better at it. I'm not the best at the moment, I will admit. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you when I see ya. Goodbye.